So this is an example of what the final draft of the paper should look like as you're moving towards that and going through your different revisions. You would have taken it to the Writing Center for extensive review. You would have taken it to your peers and gone through that process. And you would have taken it to me to be able to go through and see how it's developing and get feedback as well. And so now what we're doing is that we're looking at where this particular individual has taken it. So this is November 11th. So now it's further deeper into the semester, getting close to Thanksgiving break. That's the time you want to try to get this wrapped up as much as you can. And so what we have then is our reference list, same as what we saw before. I'm just going to scroll through that and take us down to the new drafts that we have here. So still, the references are a bit like I might modify this a little bit to have it so that it has the name and the date of the date of this individual. So there's still some modifications that can still happen here in this phase of this draft. But what's really nice is that she's gone through and she's defined a lot of these different topics here. And what's interesting is that there's more definition, more clarity in terms of how the writing is being presented. And the other part is that you can see how she's gone through and described these and gone into a little bit more detail on some of these key points in the historical perspective and so on. And then as you move along and she gets into some of the key points here, the scope and significance of the problem in particular, she's really dug into the literature and she's pulled different figures to help substantiate the points that she's actually making. So this is an important element that as you're going through the primary literature, you're going to want to look to find what is that piece of evidence that you really liked, that really made a difference in terms of being able to convince you that this was an important piece of data. And so here, this is talking about the prevalence of open-angle glaucoma in these different populations by age. So there's a brief description of what this is and where the source is of that particular thing. And so those types of figures are, you need to be able to refer to them and then be able to describe them in your paper as well, just so that we can see how it fits within the context of your points, so that the reader isn't just introduced to it um, by accident. So then it continues, and we see more of this kind of these figures being generated to be able to help illustrate the different components that we have in the eye, for example. And then there's just a lot more detail in terms of this final draft. So I'll scroll through just so you have an idea of what the rest of this looks like in terms of just a general point here. But the major things that you can see is, she's got multiple different figures that help to illustrate some of the major points that she has. And then also these figures have descriptive types of legends so that we can really kind of understand what it is that she's trying to get across. So we have that. And then the references would have already been provided. And then she's added a little bit of the personal perspectives as well as at the end there. So here are the references here that have actually been worked into it. So I hope this helps give you an idea of how to progressively move towards completion of your paper for the capstone. Thanks.